Hey everyone, and welcome back to my completionist playthrough of Diablo 2 on Hardcore. So here we are in Act 5, slowly nearing the end of Nightmare. However, despite this being the last act, we'll still have plenty to do before we're ready to fully transition to Hell difficulty, but let's take it one step at a time. And here in Act 5 I think I might split our adventures into 2 episodes, because of the large amount of optional content that we're going to do, as well as because of the fact that we're going to fight a lot of stuff along the way. Yeah, we're going to go on a rampage, and Bloody Foothills is right. We're going to stay true to its name and bathe in the blood of our enemies. And not only is it going to be fun, but we're also going to welcome the experience that comes with it, as we want more levels, more skill points and all that. And here of course you surely noticed the guest monsters. Now that we are on Nightmare, these Act 5 locations are going to be invaded by different types of creatures, and generally for most areas the selection of them is quite broad, so you can end up with vastly different creature combos, providing you with different danger levels. And that is going to mostly matter on Hell, and in some specific areas like the Worldstone Keep, for example, where you can get some particularly nasty creature combinations like Gloams and Dolls, or Death Lords and Oblivion Knights, stuff like that. And based on what we get, especially on Hell, we might reset some of those to get something different. And well, sometimes it's not even going to be a debate. Like if I get Gloams in Worldstone Keep on Hell, I'm instantly resetting. But here we should be fine. In the Bloody Foothills there's a wide variety of different ranged monsters, which can be pretty dangerous, especially on Hell. But we're doing fine for now, and we were pretty lucky with that experience shrine. We do want to get some decent experience along the way. We are going to need the levels before we can move on to Hell. Of course, we're going to elaborate on all of our preparations in detail a little bit later. There should be Cavern somewhere, our first super unique. And there he goes. And we can keep going. Now, when it comes to some Hell preparations, of course, we are going to delve into the juicy details when the time comes, but generally, you know, our preparations are going to involve quite a few things. The process is going to be quite involved, because we're going to want to gear up not only ourselves, but our future mercenary. And for that, we are of course going to farm gear in a couple of different ways, mostly doing act bosses, of course Nightmare Mephisto and Nightmare Andariel, who can drop some pretty good stuff. Pretty good starter stuff. Also might do some lower Kurast runs for some charms that could use an upgrade as well, possibly some runes. When it comes to Nightmare Cows, I'm not sure how much I'm going to do those, because Frozen Orb is not that great when it comes to farming cows. Because of those large, tightly grouped up hordes. Like Frozen Orb doesn't really reach all of them all that well. So we'll see, but it is an idea to try for some socketables, especially a starting polearm for our mercenary. We're still on the lookout for that. I would like to have an exceptional polearm with 4 open sockets for him. Or a polearm that can spawn a maximum of 4 sockets, but that's kind of rare. Only the bill spawns a maximum of 4. Others go up to 5 or 6 at this item level that we're at. And speaking of exceptional items also, I wanted to kind of touch upon that a little bit, because I don't think we have explained that concept yet. But basically, when it comes to the base items in the game, there are 3 types of them: normal, exceptional, and elite. Exceptional generally start showing up on Nightmare, or in Act 5 normal as well. And then elite ones start showing up in Act 5 Nightmare, but mostly on Hell. And basically a good example of that might be a kite shield, for example, that triangular shield the normal version of is called the Kite Shield. But then the exceptional one that we might have seen somewhere in Nightmare here already is called a Dragon Shield, and then of course the elite one is called the Monarch. And the difference between these versions of items is their base stats are higher, so for example defense for shields or base damage for weapons, and also their stat requirements are higher. That's why if you've watched the introductory episode to this playthrough, I've talked a little bit about the Monarch that we're going to try to acquire on Hell. That is the elite version of a Kite Shield that can spawn with 4 sockets, which, by the way, that can also differ between these versions, the maximum amount of sockets these items can spawn with. But yeah, the Monarch has a 156 strength requirement, so it is going to necessitate a respec, and of course it is going to involve taking a hit when it comes to our life, but having a spirit also on a shield, in my opinion, is very much worth it. Here, you know what, I'm not going to pay these exorbitant prices that Mala still has, because we still haven't done the first quest. So anyway, let's just see if we needed to identify... Oh wow, that was very poor when it comes to those wands. Of course now, when it comes to our financial situation, it doesn't really matter, but still, it just... the principle, you know, it just galls me to... to pay these barbs such high prices. They are just, you know, biased against us. Now we have our first quest done, Shank lies dead, and we can move on. We have Eldritch, part of that swift, super unique 1-2 punch. But yeah, another example when it comes to polearms, for example, is you know, the normal version of a typical, or one of the polearms is the poleaxe. Then the exceptional version of it is the Partisan, and then the elite one is the Cryptic Axe. Yeah, I would like an exceptional polearm for our mercenary to start out with, but when it comes to making Insight, we're going to need 4 open sockets, but you know, the starting polearm is not that important. It might even be a normal version, maybe, if we find some with 4 open sockets on it already. Because you can always upgrade it to something better later, because the runes needed for Insight are pretty basic at this point in the game, so you don't need to make it perfect the first time you make the rune word. You can just make anything to start out with, and then when you find that Dream Thresher or Cryptic Axe or something, or Colossus Volge, you can just make another one. Because the runes are not expensive at all. And it's going to be fine. But yeah, that's of course one of the elements of our preparations, is gearing ourselves up, and our mercenary. We're going to farm Act bosses, maybe do some lower Kurast runs. Cows, I'm not sure if they're going to be that likely. But then also later on, after the majority of our farming is done, we might engage in some gambling, imbuing, and crafting of some caster jewelry. Might do some caster amulets. Probably, but for that we're going to need some perfect amethysts. We are going to be on the lookout for those as well, of course. Alright, and here's our first Oblivion Gate. There's going to be quite a few optional areas that we've left here in Act 5 for our Nightmare adventures. There's going to be 3 of these like infernal areas that we're going to enter through these portals, like this one, into Abaddon. But also there's going to be 1 more optional area in the Icy Caves that we haven't visited on normal. And here in those, yeah, we are going to have some chances to meet some cold immunes already, giving us a bit of a taste of what to expect on Hell difficulty. There are these Hell Witches and also the Sirens, and that are immune to cold. And there's also a possibility of having some goatmen spawn from the Hell Clan and I think the Night Clan in various places in this act that are also cold immune. It's not going to be a big problem dealing with them because our meteor now is quite strong, but of course they can be a bit problematic with how they move, and our meteors are not always going to be so successful. By the way, dodging these Bloodstar projectiles is kind of like playing a bullet hell game. Some kind of a Toho shooter. Just finding your way in between the streams of projectiles. And they can be a little tricky, because especially if you're affected by Decrepify or Amplify damage, these projectiles deal physical damage, and even though they don't seem that threatening at first, you can get afflicted by some burst. Fortunately, we also have these Hell Temptresses that are not immune to anything. They are easier to deal with, more straightforward. Yeah, each of these infernal areas is going to end with a golden chest. Kind of a standard procedure. Alright, I'm going to nope out of there. And kind of take this a little bit more slowly, a little bit more methodically. Some mana burn, eh? Here's the culprit. Now, I would like to have some healing potions on my belt as well. There we go. We also see a full rejuvenation potion. They are going to start dropping here. And these potions, of course, instantly refill the full extent of our health and mana, whereas the normal rejuves only refill 35%. So, of course, we are going to always pick those up, those full rejuves, and start building up our supply of those. Also, just turning 3 normal rejuves in the Horadric Cube will give you a full rejuve. Plus also using normal gems with 3 potions of healing and mana is going to give you a full rejuve. And you can make a normal rejuve by having 3 potions of healing, 3 potions of mana, and 1 chipped gem to make a normal rejuve. Here we have an amulet, super mana, and that's going to be basically it. We're done with this area. And now our only concern is going to be just staying alive and freeing those poor helpless bards here in the frigid highlands. Now here's Sharptooth Slayer, super unique, we need to dispose of, just like that. Alright, come on guys, get your portal out. Alright, there we have the 2 other prisons. By the way, when you sometimes see my teleporting stop like that, it's because sometimes if your cursor ends up on an element of the environment, like a shrine or a door here or something like that, or a barrel, as you can see it stops. So sometimes you can have brief stops like that. This is also why it's nice to actually keep moving your cursor a little bit like keeping it in a position you want to travel, but kind of keep moving just so you don't get stuck for too long on some kind of unfortunate element of the environment like that. Here, of course, was Ibag the Unleashed. We have unleashed him into the afterlife. And yeah, here's the Night Clan, also immune to cold. Right, I think before we go much further, let's actually restock our mana reserves. And deposit some stuff. As always, we're going to kind of dedicate a separate page in our stash for all of our spoils from this episode. 11 strength. That's a decent amount if it was accompanied by something else. Okay, here's another gate, and of course this bridge indicates that we need to turn right when it comes to our exploration. Oh, nice. We have already our waypoint, and yeah, let's just go into the pit of Acheron we go. Let's see what kind of monsters we're going to have here. Okay, danger level not so high. You can have some salamanders, that's fire-based kind of salamanders. That shouldn't be too dangerous with their spells, but I think all of the Viper Claws also, okay, here they are, have their charge, which is the most threatening thing about them, especially if you get affected by a couple of those in quick succession. Okay, that was kind of quick. I'm going to take those mesh boots. And yeah, that was pretty empty.
Impossible.
Well, yeah, now we can just progress to the next area. I would like to kill some stuff along the way, but seeing how a lot of these... Whoa, 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 whoa. See, this is what happens when you get a little bit too carefree. Get too close to some unique pack and then get affected by some damage, a cold enchant explosion, something else, and then all of a sudden you're at like 20% health. Yeah, gotta never lose focus. Must stay focused. Alright, Threshy. Alright, and into the Crystalline Passage. Okay, you are not cold immune, that's cool. We have some champs we're going to take care of. And of course, first we're going to go right to secure that that waypoint here. And then we're going to have a lot of stuff to do in this section of the game. Okay, we didn't get any cold immunes. Of course, in these caverns, the chances for some cold immunes is pretty high too. Especially those Frozen Scourge guys. They're all going to be cold immune here on Nightmare. Like all types of them. Grimwand can take that. And we're already overburdened. Right, here's our waypoint. Let's actually use it and deposit some stuff. Right, what do we have here? This is all going to sell. Let's actually use Larzuk for that purpose.
Evening.
and back into the action. Alright, now I think we're going to get our business finished here in the River of Flame. That is a potentially dangerous area. I think the cold immune sirens are usually in there. The Yetis, the Drifters, the Abominables and whatnot are actually on Nightmare not going to be that dangerous, because of course now we have a nicely leveled up Cold Mastery, so even though they have I think like 85 cold resistance on Nightmare, they are going to be dying pretty quickly. Okay, we do have a bit of a nasty combo. Yeah, we have the cold immune sirens, we have the gloams, and we have these vipers. So yeah, not too friendly composition. Let's take them from the other side of the river with that viper claw. Yeah, he wants... Alright, he's already dead. I wanted to lure him on that one side of the river. This is probably something that we're going to have to do with Frozen Stein as well. As is usually the case. I might just kind of quickly teleport all the way through. Kind of trying to feel out the situation. Vibe check. Some decent burst sometimes can get affected by. Yeah, I want to clear at least a little bit of these monsters just to have a place to retreat to if the situation like further on gets a little bit too dangerous. You know, teleporting throughout the whole area is sometimes the way to go, but of course it carries the downside of having no safe place to retreat to, and you can get into some dangerous spots. And now that they can also, you know, put amplified damage, these sirens, on you, so of course amplified damage with their projectiles can result in some burst. Why do I want to risk it? Let's risk it and get these vipers. Alright, kind of a action-packed phase of the game. This is more interesting after that kind of empty pit of Acheron. Now we're getting some action. Befitting this end of Nightmare phase of the game. Do I want to stay here? I don't think so. Alright, let's just, I think, refill our reserves for this last push through the river, the frozen river. We need to have our supplies in order. +1 to assassin skills. Kind of nice if we were playing an assassin. Anyway, let's deposit some stuff and let's actually take some rejuves with us. Let's keep going. Large crowds of these sirens. But I would like to kind of clear, I think we're nearing the end of the frozen river, and I would like to have some space to work with. And for Frozen Sign. Can't you just stay in place nicely and receive that meteor right on your forehead? Oh yeah, now our quest log updated. We get that pop-up we need to get rid of, lest we accidentally click on it. So yeah, Frozen Stein is near. Can you not, dude? Can you stop with that amplify damage? Right, these glomes somewhere in here also need to die. Alright, there we have our Yeti boys. Yeah, most of them are going to be quite receptive to our Frozen Orb, but Frozen Stein, of course, is immune to cold. So we possibly can use this water here to have him stuck, we'll see. Oh, here, Anya, I'm gonna warm you up with, with those meteors. Alright, what's our situation with our boy Frozenstein? Alright, it is possible to get him stuck. Alright. That was a pretty hot frozen river, but we got through it. Alright, give me that scroll, you old hag. And Ma says that it's not much, but it's actually one of the best quest rewards in the whole game. Now here, actually, on the topic of that scroll reward, I would like to discuss something called the Anya bug, which doesn't matter on hardcore, but on softcore, if you die and continue playing in that session before you like save and quit, you actually lose the resistances coming from that scroll. So up to 30 resistances coming from those quest rewards, even though it is not reflected on your lying character screen. But so you might be thinking that, you know, like you're on hell, you have 75 resistance to everything, but in reality it might only be like 45, for example. Yeah, although that bug was supposedly fixed in like 2017 in some kind of ladder patch, 114D or something like that, but I'm not entirely sure about it. Plus, of course, if you want to play with PlugY, you have to use an older patch, so it doesn't matter. Be aware if you play on softcore. But of course, you know, on hardcore it doesn't matter for obvious reasons.
I am overburdened.
Anyway, now the only thing we need to find is the exit to the glacial trail. Here, it doesn't seem like we can teleport behind, so the waypoint is probably going to be somewhere on the left. We're going to secure that first. There's some nice juicy groups. Just going to switch out these greater healing potions on our belt to some supers. I was just drinking those from our belt and picking up the super healing ones from the ground. I'm going to do that again here. Okay, we have some full rejuves. That's also very nice to see. And another one. Activate! Where's that waypoint? Is it there? Yep. Alright. Now that we have that secured, we're going to go and dispose of Bonesaw. Get that super unique kill. Can't the sorcerers just teleport through in peace? Why are you guys so mean? Oh, that's it? Just a ghostly viper? Oh, there was a topaz.
Impossible.
Right, there's going to be Bonesaw. Try to highlight him. He is immune to cold this time. But we know what to do. We have a solution. I'm not going to go close to him to static because of his charge. There we go. Long staff we can take. Oh, that was a... You call that a gold chest? Alright, and here we're going to have a side area that we haven't visited on normal, but we are going to do it now. Do it now!
I am overburdened.
Actually, one more mana. Okay, the Drifter Cavern. Let's see what awaits us here. Just normal succubi. I like. No cold immune stuff. Very nice. Very nice, man. Sometimes you can get way nastier combos of monsters here.
I can't carry anymore.
I'm getting a fair amount of these full rejuves. Nice. Things are proceeding pretty well here.
I am overburdened.
Another one. Actually, might take that key in case we get a locked golden chest here. Somehow I'm probably going to keep some keys with me at all times. Just because, you know, the rewards for some locked containers are going to be much greater than they so far have been. But, you know, it's not really worth keeping keys in your inventory on, like, normal or something like that, but... Oh, what did you know? It was actually locked.
Impossible.
Got lucky with our preparation there. Alrighty, so we're done in the glacial trail and we can proceed to the Frozen Tundra. And in the Frozen Tundra lies the third and last one of these Oblivion Gate side areas. So we're going to explore quite thoroughly.
can't carry anymore.
Alright, there it is. Kinda running out of mana. I'm going to have to do a quick refill soon. Alright, danger level pretty low so far. We're getting some mana to keep us going. Alright, and we have just these guys. Alright, no cold immunes. No fuss. Ooh, look at that full rejuve bomb drop, dude. Nice.
Nice.
I like you, dude. Also got a level up. Pretty fruitful escapade here in the Infernal Pit. We are getting rewarded for our exploration of this side area.
I can't.
Alright, now we really need to go and get some mana. So we're going to deposit a lot of stuff. Wow, already building quite a nice supply here of these full rejuves. And Meteor is almost maxed out. Things are progressing nicely. The faster run walk on small charms is not too impressive. I should sell that. And get some more mana. Oh, did I just deposit some of the rejuves we should have with us? Oh, an Eth rune. Let's pick that up. Alright, and we are done with these side areas here. Now we just need to be on the lookout for the waypoint here. Or possibly some juicy groups. Alright, there it is. Nice, and I kind of we want to keep going a little bit further. I think we're going to do the Ancient's Way here still in the episode, but probably leave Nilathak, the final push in Act 5, and the cows for next episode. I love how Frozen Orb looks in the night. That looks especially good in Act 2. Nighttime, I think, when Frozen Orb just sends out all of these nice projectiles.
I need a key.
So pretty. The pretty lights.
I need
Is there a... yeah, an evil urn. Alright, these porcupine guys are going to be really dangerous in hell. There's... believe it or not, believe it or not, their danger level is quite high. Yeah, here we have the Black Horn's face with 20 lightning absorb. Prevents monster heal, which can be valuable. But yeah. I was talking about these porcupine guys on hell. Their damage can be quite insane. Plus, they also... okay, just 2 sockets and ethereal. Kind of also looking for a 3 open socket helm to stuff it with topazes for magic find. But anyway, only some types of helmets go up to 3 sockets. Most only allow 2.
I can't carry anymore.
But can I finish that previous thought about these porcupine guys? Yeah, on hell they can do some pretty insane damage. Plus their projectiles are pretty fast and hard to spot. Especially on some backgrounds. So we're going to have to be on our toes right from Act 1 hell. They can be kind of unassuming, you know, don't look that tough, don't look that dangerous. But they can surprise you with some burst. Now you might be asking, why am I exploring to the right when we already have the waypoint? And that is a question I am also asking myself right now. We shouldn't be here. Well, of course we're on the hunt for experience, right? We just want to kill more stuff. But yeah, where we need to be going is straightforward to get to the icy cellar. Okay, here we have the exit to the Ancients. I think we do need to end up going kind of to the right. Alright, there we go. Alright, let's see what we're going to have to deal with here. Oh, Experience Shrine. Don't curse me, sirens, please. Don't take my Experience Shrine away. Right, not the best creature combo here, I have to say. Alright, cool. Alright, here's Snap Chip Shatter. The main reason we are here. He was holding out strong, but no one shall withstand the damage of our meteors. Oh, okay, lost our experience shrine, but we got some good value out of it. You know, from that evil urn we got a group of these sirens. Alright, and I think this is going to be it. What was that? Bone hell. Alright. Let's just inspect what we got here. Also, since I'm thinking about it, let's get our scrolls replenished as well. Deposit some stuff, and then... yeah, this is going to be a good time for a break here. Of course, I'm going to sort everything in between episodes, but yeah, thank you for watching this one. I think in the next one we're going to do our final push through Act 5, do some of the last remaining quests and major opponents, and we're probably going to step into the secret cow level on Nightmare as well after we're done. So, we're still alive, so I hope you've enjoyed this episode. There were some pretty action-packed and a bit dangerous moments in there, but we're still alive, we're still going strong. So I thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next episode. Take care.